Hey guys, thanks for coming back. Today I'm in Luminar AI and I'm working on a sunset that's got like very soft kind of pastel kind of colors. And one of the things I find sometimes with those kinds of images is when you do kind of the typical approach to kind of accentuating the color, it can get over the top really quickly. So this video is about kind of how do you manage and kind of softly enhance the look of a kind of a soft, light, kind of pastel colored sunset or sunrise without overdoing it. So here's the image. So far I've cropped it and taken out a few spots, but nothing else. And what I was talking about was like often I would come in and say, ooh, accent AI, and then let's, maybe warm it up a little bit. And then, I don't know, let's go get some vibrance and, let's get some golden hour and, boom, you start doing this. And then you end up with that kind of photo, which is, way over the top and not at all really what it looked like. And so I want to reset these and kind of go through it a little bit slower and a little bit more fine-tuned in terms of the control. So again, starting image is like that. I've taken spots out, but that's where I am right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with light. I am gonna warm it up because, it's a nice sunset. I wanna get a little bit more of that warmth in there and maybe a little bit of smart contrast and pull down the highlights a little bit as well. So something about like that, I think. Just kind of, it's kind of flat to be honest, but there it is before and after. So really just a minor difference. But what I want to do is hop into super contrast and start adjusting the contrast in the various tonal areas. So I'm going to like mid 20s on highlights, kind of like low 20s on midtones, and also about mid 20s on shadows. So something about like that. And then I'm going to come back and play with the balance. So here I'm doing, about mid 20s. And here I'm doing teens, so maybe about 14 or 15. And then on shadows balance, I'm gonna go fairly high, about midway. So like, low 50s, something like that. So basically, I'm adjusting the light, right? So if I show you the before and after, there it is before, a little bit flatter, a little less impactful, and now it's got a little bit more oomph to it. And that's what I like about contrast, and specifically super contrast, because you can really adjust the contrast in those different tonal areas to have a nice overall look. So I've done all that. I feel like the light's pretty good. Now I'm going to kind of soften things up a little bit. A photo like this, I tend not to add structure to because, it would go something like that. In this case, I'm actually going to remove structure from the whole photo. So I'm going to go -15 across the entire image, really just softening it up, which to me, visually, it kind of goes with the fact that this is a soft kind of pastel colored, gentle light kind of sunset. And on top of the negative structure, I'm also going to get mystical, and I'm going to just do a little bit here, like maybe about a 20. And so if I show you that before and after, let me show you that before and after, has a similar effect to the negative structure in that mystical kind of softens things up. It does add a little bit of contrast, and we're going to back up a little bit on that here in a minute. But I feel like so far I've got a nice image overall in terms of the look. There it is before, and there it is after. Haven't really had much of an impact on color, but I've definitely softened up the light a little bit, created that soft scene, and now I want to get into some of the color. So one of my favorite tools is down in color harmony, and it's called color balance. So I'm going to start in the shadows actually. So let me start with shadows, and I'm going to do about a -5 or so here in cyan, just adding a little bit of blue to that shadow, which I think kind of helps create a little bit of darkness. In the midtones, I'm going to do about a 5 here. So something, 5 or 6 right there on cyan and red, so kind of toward the red, and a -5 here on magenta to kind of go towards the magenta. I like that kind of magenta look in a sunset. I think it goes particularly well with this one because of the colors that were already in the scene. And then with highlights, I'm going to do about a similar move, like, a 4 or 5 here on red, and about a -5. Whoops, maybe not a -5. Maybe like a -2. In fact, I'm going to pull that back a little bit, make that about a 3. I don't want to overdo it. I'm not trying to create like a wow sunset. This is a kind of a soft pastel look, as I said. So I just want to accentuate some of the light and color. And if you look at the before and after, it's pretty gentle. It's pretty, calm overall. But there it is before color balance, and there it is now. So it's got a little bit more of that magenta cast, and again, soft light kind of look. And now I just want to wrap it up in color, where there's a few things that are kind of bugging me that I want to go adjust. So the first thing I'm going to do is go into luminance. And in the blue, I'm going to increase the luminance quite a bit, maybe about a 40. I just feel like the blues are a little too dark. So before, you can see there it is, the blue, especially that big cloud on the right, so it's a little too dark, a little too blue. In fact, I may go a little bit more than 40. I might go about 44 5. And then I'm going to go over to saturation. And what I want to do here is just bump up the reds a little bit, and maybe something like that, maybe a little bit in the oranges, and pull down the saturation a little bit in the blues. Not a massive effort with color either. Again, soft, gentle approach, but there it is before, and there it is after. And I actually think I may go a little bit more in the reds. I do like my color, and I want to be careful with the orange, because as you start dragging it to the right, you can see it's really getting intense in these two sections here, and especially in that place in the beach. So I'm going to pull this back. I want to keep that like low teens. I want to amp up that orange, but I don't want it so saturated that it looks out of balance. And that's really it for the color adjustment. There it is before and after. The most noticeable stuff is basically reducing contrast in the blues, because I lightened the blues with the luminance slider for the blue. And that's my photo, honestly. So there it is before. Soft, kind of gentle pastel color, and after, same kind of thing. And in fact, I might go into light and actually pull back a little bit on the magenta, and maybe pull back a little. No, I think I'll keep the warmth about where it was. I think it was 58 and change. Maybe not that much reduction in magenta, but just a little bit. Like I said, I want to keep the soft pastel tones and those colors overall, but they were just a little flatter. So there it is before and after. Kept the same soft look, amped up the color a little bit, but overall just wanted to keep that soft pastel look. And for me, the thing is, don't just go in with Accent AI and Golden Hour and saturation, because those are kind of like what I would call blunt instruments. They're just kind of boom, hitting the color. So I think you want to be careful. So I used a little bit of color balance and a little bit of work in the color tool, both with luminance and saturation, to kind of get the tones looking the way I want them to look. And that's my overall finished photo. And there it is before and after. A little bit warmer, still maintain that soft look. And that's it, my friends. Just a few ideas for you to work with in Luminar AI. Hope it helps. Hope it provides some ideas for you to use in your own photos. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video, my friends. You take care of yourselves, and until next time, adios.